I used to do these too. Impulse buys, carrying credit card balances, treating pay raises like permission to upgrade everything. For years I thought I was doing fine because I had a steady income and a few zero balance months, but quietly, my finances were leaking. That slow drip of decisions added up into missed opportunities, fewer investments, more stress, a retirement projection that looked worse than it should. I'm confessing this because I've been there, and because these mistakes almost cost me the very thing everyone wants: financial freedom. These 5 mistakes are why smart people stay broke, and I promise you there are clear fixes. Over the next 10 minutes, I'll walk through each mistake, show the real dollar impact, and give practical actions you can implement today, not someday. This is fast, actionable, built for busy people who want serious results without complicated finance jargon. This is a 10-minute YouTube video. I want to start with impulse spending. It's the sneakiest wealth killer. Impulse buys are those little treats: a coffee upgrade, a new gadget, an Amazon purchase at 2 a.m. that feel small at the moment but add up fast. I used to justify them as rewards for working hard, but in reality, they were the silent erosion of my future purchasing power. If you've ever scrolled and clicked buy now without thinking, you know exactly what I mean. Here's a simple definition. An impulse buy is any purchase not on a pre-made list or beyond a planned budget. It's reactive, emotion-driven, usually unplanned. Picture this. You see a pair of headphones for $120 because a targeted ad convinced you it's a deal. You hadn't planned for it. Within moments, it's on your doorstep. And your bank balance is a little lower. A quick, relatable example. I walked out of a phone store with an accessory bundle I didn't need because the salesperson made me feel like I'd be missing out. I justified it as only $80, but then I did the math. That $80 could have been invested over 30 years at a modest 7% return. That single $80 could become over $1,000. One impulse buy becomes a missed future. Imagine 5 impulse buys of $50 each month. That's $250 monthly, $3,000 a year. If invested at a conservative 6% annual return for 20 years, that $3,000 per year becomes a sizable nest egg. Conversely, spending those dollars now gives you nothing in the future. The math is stark when you put numbers to it. The emotional lure is real. Retailers and apps trigger quick buys with scarcity language, one-click checkout, tailored recommendations. You're being optimized for consumption, but recognizing the mechanics lets you fight back. So, awareness is the first step. Simple fix: the 24-hour rule and a shopping list. If it's not on the list, wait 24 hours. For expensive buys, extend to 72 hours and talk it over with someone. Make a real shopping list. Groceries, household items, one planned fun purchase per month. Commit to sticking to it. High-interest consumer debt is like a financial tar pit. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. I've had credit card balances before. I remember watching interest charges pile on while my payments barely moved the balance. Credit cards, payday loans, these can have APRs north of 20 to 30%. You're losing money every month just to stay afloat. Let's break down how interest compounds against you. If you carry $5,000 on a card at 20% APR, and make only minimum payments, years go by while the balance barely drops. Compound interest is a friend when you invest consistently. It's a ruthless enemy when you're the one paying it. Immediate actions you can take start with freezing credit cards. Physically put them away, or use an app to lock them temporarily. Reduce temptation and stop adding to the problem. Next, choose a payoff strategy. Snowball. Snowball, smallest balances first for quick wins, or avalanche. Avalanche, highest interest first to minimize total interest paid. Both work if you stick to them. If you're overwhelmed by multiple high-interest cards, contact your issuer and negotiate a lower rate. It's surprising how often you can get a temporary rate reduction. Balance transfers to a card with a 0% introductory APR can be a lifeline. Watch out for transfer fees. And watch the rate when the intro period ends. Create a concrete payoff plan. List balances, interest rates, minimum payments, target payoff dates, automate payments so you never miss one. Small wins build momentum. When one card is paid off, funnel that payment into the next. So that's the stance. Snowball in action. If payday loans are in the mix, seek alternatives immediately. Community credit counselors, local nonprofit assistance, small personal loans with lower APR. The key is to stop the cycle of borrowing to pay borrowed money, and start building a buffer as you pay down debt. Even $25 a week into a tiny emergency fund can prevent future reliance on cards. Think of debt repayment and buffered savings as parallel priorities. One reduces drag, the other prevents relapse. Finally, change habits that created the debt. Apply the 24-hour rule. No emergency fund is one of the fastest ways to spiral back into debt. I didn't always prioritize cash reserves. When my car needed a repair, I reached straight for a credit card. That choice turned a $500 unforeseen expense into a multi-year payment. Interest did its ugly work. The problem is simple. Without cash on hand, every unexpected cost becomes a potential new debt. That creates stress, and stress creates poor financial decisions. You need a safety net. A buffer that keeps you from taking steps backward when life happens. I recommend a target of 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses in an emergency fund. Essential means rent or mortgage utilities, groceries, insurance, and minimum debt payments. If your income is unstable or you're a freelancer, aim for the higher end, 6 months or more. Don't let the target size paralyze you. Start small, automate small weekly transfers, even $10, even $25 to begin. Automating is powerful because it makes saving a non-decision. You won't miss money you never see. Over time, increase the transfer as you pay down debt or get raises. Put the emergency fund somewhere accessible but not tempting to use. A high-yield savings account or an online savings account with no immediate debit card. You want easy access without the frictionless temptation of your checking account. Track your progress visually. A progress bar, a simple chart, or an app goal. These visual trackers are motivational and keep you consistent. Celebrate milestones, $500, $1,000, then 1 month's expenses. If you're currently carrying high-interest debt, build a small $1,000 starter emergency fund while aggressively paying down the worst debt. Once your high-interest balances are gone, funnel more into the emergency fund until it reaches 3 to 6 months. Letting cash sit idle is a passive tax on your future. Inflation slowly eats purchasing power. Cash in a low-interest checking account is effectively losing value year over year. I've sat on cash before, waiting for the right time to invest. By the time I acted, I'd lost ground to inflation. Contrast inflation with passive investing. A diversified, low-cost index fund historically returns around 7% after inflation over long periods. Money working for you grows exponentially via compound returns. The earlier and more consistently you invest, the greater the compounding. A simple example, $5,000 invested today at 7% for 30 years becomes about $38,000. Let that more $5,000 sit in cash earning 0.5%. It barely moves, and inflation reduces its buying power. Dollars need to be deployed to grow. That's the essential truth. If investing feels intimidating, start with low-fee index funds or ETFs that track the total market or an S&P 500 fund. The lowest-cost options typically outperform most expensive actively managed funds over time, especially after fees. Fees matter. Even small percentage differences compound into large amounts. Dollar cost averaging is another tool. Invest a fixed amount regularly regardless of market ups and downs. It removes the emotional pressure of timing the market and leverages volatility in your favor by buying more shares when prices dip. Tax-advantaged accounts are part of the strategy. Max out employer 401k match before anything else. That's free money. Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, taxable brokerage accounts. If you're worried about volatility, remember time horizon matters. Short-term cash needs should stay in safe accounts. Long-term goals benefit from market exposure. The balance depends on your timeline, but the default shouldn't be do nothing. Finally, automate your investments. Set up recurring contributions the day your paycheck hits. Automation pairs well with budgeting and prevents procrastination. Over years, these small, regular deposits compound into substantial wealth. Lifestyle inflation is the sneaky habit of increasing spending as your income rises. I've celebrated raises by upgrading apartments, by buying nicer cars, then realized my net worth didn't budge because expenses rose in lockstep. If every raise is matched by more spending, you're not getting wealthier, you're just earning more to sustain a bigger lifestyle. Define it simply: discretionary spending climbs with income. Society applauds visible success, bigger houses, nicer vacations, and that social validation keeps the cycle going. But outward signs of wealth, real wealth. The consequence, you never harvest the financial benefit of higher earnings. Raises should be chances to accelerate savings and investing. Raise your savings rate when you earn more and wealth grows exponentially. Tactic, pre-commit to percentage-based increases. Automatically allocate a fixed percentage when you get a raise. 50% to savings investments, 30% to lifestyle, 20% to taxes, other. Enjoy more, but force yourself to invest the rest. Another method, raise your savings rate with each raise, not your lifestyle. Use pre-commitment devices, direct deposit split. Send investment portion to brokerage, send lifestyle portion to checking. If you never see the full amount, you can't spend it on impulse. Set aspirational but delayed big-ticket goals. Make upgrades a deliberate choice funded by new savings. This preserves options and keeps you in control. Finally, track your net worth monthly. Seeing balances rise or stall is the reality check many need. Data removes excuses and makes lifestyle inflation visible and actionable. Recap time 1. Impulse spending. Implement the 24-hour rule and a shopping list. 2. Debt traps. Freeze cards, pick snowball or avalanche, negotiate rates. 3. No emergency fund. Automate small weekly transfers until you hit 3 to 6 months. 4. Not investing or letting cash sit. Use low-fee index funds and dollar-cost averaging. 5. Lifestyle inflation. Pre-commit to percentage-based increases to savings with each raise. Each mistake has one-sentence action delay. Freeze, automate, invest, pre-commit. If this helped, do me a favor. If this helped, subscribe for weekly finance videos, and comment which mistake you'll fix first. Your engagement helps me keep making these videos, and it also builds a community where we share wins and tips. Tell me in the comments which one-line action you're starting today so I can cheer you on. Quick tease, next video, how to build your first $10,000 emergency fund, fast. I'll show step-by-step automation, side hustle ideas, and a 90-day plan that actually works. Thanks for watching. Let's stop leaving money on the table and start building real, lasting wealth.